They read you Cinderella, you hoped it would come true, that one day your Prince Charming would come rescue you. You like romantic movies, you never will forget.
Hi, it's Stacy, and today is November the 14th, 2021, as I record the commentary for this wedding gig log. This is Michael and Jacqueline's wedding gig log back from November the 4th of 2017, so it's been just a little over 4 years ago since this wedding took place. Now, what is a director's cut wedding gig log? Basically, what we're doing is we're just going back through and just looking at some of the older gig logs, and I'm just adding just some director's cut commentary to it. And we're just looking at it from a different perspective a couple years later, or a few years later. And like I said, this wedding took place a little over 4 years ago, back in 2017, November 2017. And Michael and Jacqueline, they were just a very special bride and groom. And the reason I say that is because they were a lot of fun to work with. And you're going to see something here in just a minute, and it's also in the original gig log, which you can see at the end of this video. I'll make sure I post a link to it. But the bride, Jacqueline, actually asked me if we could do a very special spotlight dance that she didn't want anybody else to know about. And the story is that her parents had gotten married, several years ago, but they never actually had a reception or a first dance or anything like that. And she said that she wanted her parents to have a first dance at her wedding. So I said, sure, we'll do that. So in a few minutes, you're going to see the spotlight dances. You'll see the bride and groom's first dance, the father-bride dance, the mother-groom dance. And then what I did at that point was I got on the microphone and I called the bride's parents up and said, here's your first dance. It was complete, surprise to them. And you can see how emotional that was. You can see how her mom was really emotional over that. So her parents got to have their first dance, 30 or however many years later that they've been married, but at least they did get their first dance in. It's never too late for things like that. When you can share in a special moment like that, it really is special. So anyway, we're on our way out to Holland Farms, and that's just north of Milton, Florida. And Holland Farms actually has a big pumpkin patch they do every year in the fall, and they have a bunch of kids' activities around Halloween and stuff like that. I think they may even do a Christmas display. I'm not really sure. But it is a very popular place, and it's way out in the middle of nowhere. You can barely even get cell phone coverage out there, and I've done several weddings there, so it's going to look familiar to you. Now, there I am. Look at that. I had a goatee back at that time, and I actually shaved off my goatee about a year after this gig log took place, and I've been clean-shaven ever since, and everybody's told me that they like me clean-shaven. They say I look a lot younger, so, if you see any more of my recent gig logs, you'll notice that. Now, that was my Fender Passport you just saw. Now, here's what we did. We had the Fender Passport set right inside the doors there, and that's where they had their ceremony. And we just opened those doors and just projected the music out there. It worked out really good. You see that drone there that they were using to record the ceremony as well. But the weather was definitely on our side that day, that was for sure. Now, there's my reception setup. You can see my old facade there that I had, the fold-out facade. I've since gotten a new facade that's got scrims on it to where I can put lights behind it and stuff. And I've also got some new Scrim Kings for the speakers if you see any more recent gig logs. So that was back when I was using the old facade and the old Scrim Kings there. Now, here we are. That's my Fender Passport. I kind of got creative because we didn't have an extra table, so those are just my tubs there, and I just threw a tablecloth over them and just set my computer on top of it, and that's how I did that. And then I broke it down as soon as the ceremony was over with. Now, here we are with the bride and groom's first dance. Now, Holland Farms there, they've actually added on to it since this gig log took place. They've added a couple more extra bathrooms there in the back, so it does look a little differently. I think the last wedding gig log I did there was probably, I want to say September 2020. Yeah, that's right. It was just right after Hurricane Sally, so just a few days after that. So if you can go back on my YouTube channel, you'll see a more recent video from Holland Farms. You can see back there where they've added in some other things too. I was set up in the same spot. Now, here we are with our father-bride dance, and like I said, this is just a beautiful, beautiful facility out there. And they've actually got a little train that they take kids around too to go look at the pumpkin patches and that kind of stuff. And I think they were actually doing that the day we were up there. I can't really remember. I know that I've gone up there before when they've done other events there with the fall activities and stuff, and they have like a big playground, and it's just a really, really beautiful place. Now, here we are, the mother-groom dance, and you can see it's always a special time there with that. Now, in just a second, you're going to see the bride's parents' first dance. Yeah, here we are, okay? Now, again, the bride's parents did not know we were going to do this. Nobody knew that we were going to do this except for me and the bride and groom. And you see the bride and groom, Jacqueline and Michael, right there behind them. But the mother, you can see she's going to be wiping tears from her eyes because this was, something, like I said, very spontaneous. Her parents had never had a first dance. And the bride asked me if we could do that just about a week before, and so I said sure. So we went ahead and incorporated this in. I got on the microphone, I called the bride's parents up and told them they're going to have their first dance, and here we are. This was this is probably one of the most special moments they're going to remember about this wedding. And that, you know, that's it's these moments like these that really make what we do special, in my opinion, when it comes to being a mobile DJ. I mean, yeah, we get access to all this music and everything else, but you see her mom there rubbing the tears from her eyes and stuff. That was an emotional moment that she's going to remember for the rest of her life, and everybody there is going to remember. And then they're going to remember, you know, me, the DJ, because I helped make that happen. And that's special. When you can share it in a special moment like that, it really is. I mean, there's no greater feeling than that when it, you know, in my opinion, when it comes to becoming a mobile DJ. Now here we are doing the cake cutting. Of course, it's always a special time as well. Sometimes I have the brides and grooms that'll pick up the cake and throw it in each other's faces. I've had them smeared on each other's faces. Whatever they want to do, you know, it's up to them. I just kind of let them set the mood to it. But you can see Jacqueline and Michael there had a great time with that. Now there we are getting into open dancing. There's all her friends up there and stuff. And the photographer, I think, was a family friend of theirs. You'll see her get into the dancing here in just a few minutes too. She had a good time and was really nice from what I can remember. Now back there in the very back where that light's getting cut on and off, you can see that's where they built some new bathrooms and some new dressing rooms back there. So that doesn't look like that anymore. There's not just a wall there. There's actually another bathroom and another dressing room area back there now that they've built since this video took place. Yeah, there we are. So you can see the photographer there on the end. She's got her camera in her hand. She was out there having a good time. They were actually singing to Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. You know, that song really made its name, but once again, it was introduced to a whole new generation when it was played in the final scene of The Sopranos in the series finale of that back in, I want to say 2008, I believe it was. And ever since then, I still get a lot of requests for it. It's still one of my most popular songs I get a lot of requests for. But yeah, this group had a really, really fun time. Like I said, Jacqueline was a local school teacher, so she was out there, you know, having a good time. And, you know, she's telling me all about, after this wedding was over with, I got a really nice email from her, talked to her for a little bit. She said everybody had a great time. They were really, you know, enjoying this. You could tell if they were all out there just having a great time as well. And of course, this was all pre-COVID too. This is back before the coronavirus ever hit or anything like that, so there's no social distancing or anything like that. Like I said, this was in November of 2017. Of course, the pandemic didn't really hit until March of 2020, so we're still you know, a long time off from the pandemic hitting. But yeah, you see them there. There they are doing the cha-cha slide there. That was real popular that night. And we're starting to wind things down here a little bit. You can see the Revo 3 there bouncing off the railings in there. And those lights in there, they stay in there all the time. That all comes with the wedding package. Now, they've also got a balcony there that they say that some DJs set up in, but I really don't recommend that. Now, people have asked me about that. You know, I've had brides ask me, you know, if I would sit up on a balcony like that. And a couple of things that I always try to tell them is that, number one, you know, we can't really be taking the equipment up steps, you know, because of insurance reasons. I mean, you know, if something drops, the insurance isn't going to cover it. That's what a lot of insurance companies are. But what really sells my brides on that when I tell them that, you know, it's not a good idea to put the DJ up on a balcony like that is because of the sound quality. You're not going to get the bass if you're up high like that than you are if you're on ground level, you know what I'm saying? And that's really what sells a lot of brides when I explain that to them. They're like, oh, no, we want to get that bass and everything. We want you to be right there on ground level so we get the maximum of the music and everything. So that's how that works, and that usually works out well for me. Now here we are doing the bride and groom's final dance. And as I've mentioned before, whenever I do a final dance, I always have the bride and groom stand in the middle of the dance floor, and I ask everybody to form a circle around them with their significant other. And see, it just creates just a really, really nice ending to the reception there at that point. And as soon as this was over with, I think everybody moved outside and they lit sparklers and all that, and then, you know, said goodbye to the bride and groom. We were starting to clean up here at this point. Now, here we are on the drive home, and you can see this is just desolate. I mean, this is like right out in the middle of nowhere when you're going up there to Holland Farms. Like I said, it's really hard to get cell phone coverage up there, so you really have to be careful. It's, you know, pretty, you know, like I said, pretty much out in the country. You have to worry about deer and all that kind of stuff, so you have to be really careful when you're driving on these back roads late at night like that. But unfortunately, nothing like that ever happened. But yeah, this is my old van that I had. I got rid of that van, well, probably about a little over a year, I guess, after this gig log took place. But yeah, a lot of memories looking back at this particular gig log. You can see, you know, how that looked. But anyway, like I said, Michael and Jacqueline, they were just a very, very fun bride, just a wonderful bride to bride and groom to work with. And I really enjoyed that moment of being able to, you know, share in their parents' first dance, and they finally got their first dance after however many years they'd been married. I'm not really sure how many years they were married. So anyway, like I said, this was just a very, very fun bride and groom, very fun gig log. And Holland Farms is a beautiful place up there. Maybe we'll have more gig logs from there in the future. Let's hope so. And we'll look forward to some more gig logs. And so now as we wrap up this Director's Cut gig log, thank you so much for watching. I've enjoyed watching this gig log with you as well. And if you'd like to see the original gig log that we posted back in 2017 from this wedding with the music and everything, be sure and click on the link and you can go back and check that out. We've also got another playlist of other wedding gig logs you can check out as well if you'd like to see some more recent gig logs, or even go back to 2008 and see even more older gig logs. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, practice and enjoy.